Alright, another early start. It's just before 7 o'clock, about 10 minutes to 7, and I'm heading off to Coles to hopefully snare myself some more toilet paper, because I'm able to get in there at 7 o'clock. Luckily they've got a community thing you can do for the first hours. I haven't tried this before, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully there'll be some stock on the shelves, but you know, they have been dwindling, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be okay early in the day, but I just double checked online that they still have the same arrangements, that that on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays you can go in there early and get the produce before the main place opens at 8. It's a little confusing the way it's set up, and but I'll just put that up on screen. You can just see what the situation is, I find, because if you look up Google, it'll say that the actual supermarket opens at 8, so there's no reference to a community hour at all. So you've got two lots of information, so yeah, you need to delve a bit deeper to find out what the intricacies are. And of course they used to open at 6 o'clock, so that's been one major change since this lockdown situation's taken place. And I'm presuming that's so they can actually stock the shelves, gives them more time to do that. But I haven't noticed any change. If anything, it's getting worse. And they say that both Woolworths and Coles are employing a lot more people. They're putting, you know, for tens of thousands of new employees, but I haven't noticed a change yet. I guess they've got to train them first, so maybe in the next few weeks. But I was watching one of my favourite YouTube contributors just before, who does a corona update every day, which is probably not that useful because he's talking about the number of cases. It's more important to see if you can flatten the curve, which seems to be happening in Australia, so that's good. But yeah, he what was, I've just lost my train of thought there. Nope, totally lost it. Great. I am getting old. Oh, how embarrassing. I might as well fess up. I'm doing a Joe Biden. Maybe not that bad. Well, yeah, obviously the guys at the trade link just to start work now. Yeah, sorry about that. I actually had a surprise. One thing about YouTube, I never can pick what is going to be a popular video. And yesterday I ended up putting in clickbait and not even realising it, because I said big things are happening in Boca Chica, which is where Starlink is being developed by SpaceX, and I got a huge number of views, and I didn't mean it to be a clickbait thing, but it's ended up acting like that because I'm just using old footage and just giving basically an update of what's happening there. It is actually coming to a very interesting time there though, because they're getting one of their prototype spaceships are just about to actually take off fairly soon, in the next few days possibly, so maybe a week or whatever, but it's fairly soon, and it's been a long time coming with some problems along the way, so it is highly anticipated. So I guess that's why I've got so many hits, but and I got a couple of subscribers as well, so I guess people didn't think it was total rubbish what I was putting there, but I felt it was a mixture of my normal stuff about corona and with an emphasis on the Chinese influence. And I'd like to say a few more things about that. I had an idea that a lot of people in other countries are now getting pretty crapped off with the way the Chinese have sort of left us all out to dry. They could have stopped this a lot earlier if they'd just been more transparent with their own people and hadn't actually chastised whistleblowers like that poor doctor who died. And I'm thinking, what if every Western country said to China from now on, once this blows over, if you want to travel to any other country now, you're going to have to go into a mandatory 2 to 3 week quarantine. That would actually really make it clear to them how bad a global citizen they have been, because the amount of disruption they have caused is just staggering, and the amount of misery that they've caused because of people losing their jobs. You know, I just think they've got to be held accountable, and this would be a long-term way of reinforcing. If they want to travel another country from now on, every single Chinese from the mainland has to actually go through quarantine. I think that would be justice, because the message needs to be put forward to them. Maybe, I think they're going to have damage anyway, because trade relations have definitely been damaged because of this. People in the West are obviously realising that they have to at least provide their own strategic resources in case something like this happens. So in medical areas, I think the States and Australia will be producing their own medical hardware like gloves and masks and all these things. We'll have a homegrown industry from now on, and we'll say stuff bloody relying on an unreliable foreigner for our strategic supplies. I think it's fair enough. So I think consequences have to occur. If not, then bad behaviour will continue. But there's no doubt that the Chinese, the Communist Party in particular, have lost face over this, and deservedly so. And as I say, I'm just hoping there will be major consequences. There already are consequences. Even if you didn't mandate something like a quarantine. But I'm just thinking, I'm just spitballing. That's my idea anyway. It's fairly draconian, but I'm fairly angry with them. I think they've caused so much damage to us. And mind you, we've gone along with them. We've been conspirators with them in the past and destroyed our own industry. It's time to say enough is enough, and to build a moat around our own industry and protect it, so we do have some manufacturing still in the country. But you know, it is a complex situation. But you know, I think what I was going to say about Sticks is he actually mentions, he always mentions the number of cases, but it's much more complex than that, than just the number of corona cases. It's also, you know, like I say, the flattening of the curve, how each individual country is going. It varies a lot, and it depends on the reporting of those countries. There's a lot of factors involved. So it just occurred to me that with this social distancing that people want, like I've been buying more of certain products. I bought two tubs of yogurt, for instance, so I wouldn't have to visit the supermarket so often. And I also bought double the amount of red wine that I'd normally buy from the liquor land, again, so I wouldn't have to keep going in and out all the time, just to reduce my exposure. But I'm thinking those restrictions on buying toilet paper, for instance, again, have a consequence of actually meaning that now people have to actually go shopping for toilet paper more often. They can't stock up. So there are unexpected consequences from this decision. It's a good decision, I think, but I'm just thinking that, you know, people, all these decisions do have consequences, and the consequence there is that people are then compelled to have to go into the supermarket to shop more frequently. I mean, the alternative is they can order online and have it delivered, I guess, but I think it's still banked up for a couple of weeks, so it's not super practical, and it does cost you more to do that. But you know, as I say, buying in bulk at the moment makes sense in that you don't have to go shopping as often. That does seem to be a sensible way of doing things. I can't do that anyway because I don't have a car. But that's not excusing any of the hoarders, though. I think they're the scum of the earth. So stuff them. Anyway, almost at the supermarket, and we'll see how this new community system works, and see how many people are in there, and what sort of stock we've got. It's a lot easier to come here at 7 rather than 6 though, so in a way I'm quite happy that they've made the hours a bit later. It's got a bit of sunlight, which is nice, and we're losing it every day because we're getting more and more into winter, a few months down the track. Oh, I got through the electric doors. I thought it was shut because they're so dodgy anyway that at the best of times those doors are crap. You know what happened yesterday? I found I got there was a copyright claim on one of my videos about music. Now, I hadn't put any music onto it, but I'd been in the mall here, and I think it's the Muzak. I mean, that's ridiculous. I was just walking through. I wouldn't even know what the music was. It was some Latino music, I think. given the person claiming the copyright, and it's just absurd. But, so even if you're just filming in here with absolutely no intent of having that as part of your presentation, they're still going to try to claim copyright. I mean, that's crazy. This is a public space. I think that's absurd. You know, if they're going to play that crap in an open public space like this, well, that's their bad luck in my opinion, but the law doesn't always see it that way, and the law is an ass. Well, guess what? There was no checking at all, so anyone can walk in. Although it's toilet paper here, someone just walked out with some. So yeah, we're going down the main aisle, which is the toilet paper aisle. But they're just, they're not checking anybody. It's interesting that they've got this supposed community thing, but they're not following it anyway. Hopefully there's some toilet paper here. Oh yeah. Yep, unbelievable. Alright, how much is it? Got a price on it? Well, I got the toilet paper, but I think I had to buy a brand name, so I had to get sorbent, and of course it costs more, even though it's a bulk pack. It's over $12 for 24 rolls, but I normally get the double size triple ply ones that are so soft, which are actually the Coles brand. They're about $3.50 each, so they last a long time. These ones will probably last about half the time each roll, so in effect it's equivalent of probably, you know, 12 of the ones that I use. So I'm actually, because there's no choice at the moment because of all this hoarding, then I'm paying more, so it's really in effect a price increase for me. And I'm sure there's quite a few areas where the supermarkets are doing quite well at increasing their prices. But you know, it's just typical virtue signalling, having this community hour and not enforcing it at all. Anyone could just walk in there, and I think I'm so sick of modern day management, because that's all they do. They talk the big talk and they do nothing, and Coles is a classic example of that. So not impressed. I walked past a guy just outside of the tile place, and he said to me, be careful you don't get mugged carrying that around, sort of half jokingly, but it's only half jokingly because it is such a precious commodity these days. It's ridiculous. That's the other problem, having such a big bulk pack. I can't put it in my bag. I can't conceal it if I wanted to. It's too large. So yeah, it's not ideal, but I'm happy to have them. If I get them home, I'll be happy. But that probably puts my flat into high risk territory. They don't care about the big TV, they care about the jumbo pack of toilet paper. That's a major consideration. So this is the crazy world we live in at the moment. I'm just hoping that a few people are predicting that hopefully in the next week or so we're going to hit that peak, as I did predict. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.